Am I the asshole for calling my fiance selfish for refusing to let my dad walk me down the aisle? My fiance, 26 male, and I, 23 female, have been together for over 2 years. I don't have a big family, just my dad and my older sister. My dad has always been a single parent, devoting his life for me and my sister and working over 14+ jobs in the past 6 years to provide for us. I love my dad and we have the best relationship anyone could hope for. However, my fiancé does not get along with him. They have different opinions on so many things. For example, my fiancé one time suggested to my dad to sell the truck he has because it's been sitting there for years. My dad got offended because this is my grandfather's truck and he has no money to get it fixed. Another example, my fiancé got mad at my dad at a party for talking about his struggle after my mom's death and accused him of collecting sympathy points, but dad said that he always talks about it casually. Their recent disagreement was when my dad refused to give my fiancé money to contribute to the wedding. My fiancé complained, but I said that my dad isn't obligated to pay for the wedding. Yesterday, my fiancé told me to look for someone else to walk me down the aisle and asked why. He said that my dad refused to help with the wedding and he should be grateful he's still invited. I got upset and argued that for one, my dad refused to contribute because he has no money, he cannot afford to pay. And two, just like any bride, I want my dad to walk me down the aisle on my wedding day. He threw a fit saying that I was trying to ruin his mood and get him upset on our wedding day, but I called him selfish for wanting to take away the moment I always dreamed of. Sounds cliché, but I'm like that, over his disagreements with dad. It's not fair given that he and my dad are on great terms. He yelled at me for calling him selfish, although it's our wedding, not just mine, and said that I clearly don't give a hoot if he's uncomfortable, then walked out. He's fuming and is insisting I'm being inconsiderate and projecting on him when I called him selfish. Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. Your fiancé is trying to control you. He sees your father as a threat to his control over you. There is no rational reason as to why he is taking issue with the issues he has been having a go at you over. I have been where you are. Please look up the term, coercive control. I wish I had realized this concept sooner. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my wife I'll purchase the coffee I want, because I'm the one with a job? I've lately come to enjoy some nicer coffee than I usually drank. I brew it at home, so we're not talking daily $7 drinks or anything. Instead of getting a giant bulk bag of Kirkland coffee, I've come to enjoy a $12 bag from the grocery store. It lasts a bit over a week, maybe 2. Instead of $15 for about 5 weeks. My wife doesn't work. I work from home. She also unfortunately isn't doing a lot around the house right now because of a medical condition. I've been picking up most of the slack while she sits around. This has been going on for 6 months for the household, years for the job. Yes, she has depression, yes, she's getting treatment for it. I try my best to do what I can, but oftentimes I have to ask her multiple times to help with even simple tasks to share responsibility. We've had discussions on how I know she's working on the issue, but I can't do everything on my own. I make plenty to be able to have my coffee be a splurge. She'd previously commented on the cost, and I said, it's well within the budget, and I like it. It's fine. Edit. I'd shown her the grocery budget in YNAB, which is nearly always under budget every month for the past few years. I brought home another bag the other day, and she made a comment along the lines of, "You're spending way too much on this fancy coffee. You need to go back to the other stuff." Having had to make the grocery run again, after doing other household chores that morning, I snapped, "The one with the job gets to make the grocery choices. Work again or contribute to the household and you can have a say in what we buy." She called me a cold-hearted asshole and stormed out of the room. So am I the asshole for my reaction to being called out on coffee buying? Not the asshole, not at all. This has absolutely nothing to do with coffee. I suffer from severe depression and anxiety. The more I sit and do nothing, the worse it gets. All the treatments in the world are totally useless if I don't follow through with my actions. Time for her to find another therapist and develop a real plan for getting back to participating in life. Coffee is not your problem, but you know this, right? But I do feel there may be more than the coffee issue going on for the response you gave. Definitely better ways to talk about it than the response provided. Not the asshole. Your post is sort of heartbreaking. Mental illness can ruin more than one life if it's allowed to be an albatross on others. Something has to give here. I hate to see one side drowning no matter how hard they work and try. Am I the asshole for firing an employee returning from maternity leave? I feel like the devil right now, so I'll accept whatever judgment you all have. I run a team of about 6 people. Our company offers a large amount of maternity leave, 10 months. One of my employees got pregnant recently, I'll call her Jess. Our team does project-based work, and in the period between her leaving for ML we finished up the project we were working on when she left, and started working on a project without her. During this period, our team had to adapt to working without her expertise in certain matters. We adapted, and eventually some of us developed the skills needed to do some of her workload. The situation we have now is me, and 2 others split half the work that Jess used to do, and we hired someone new to come into the team to handle the other part of Jess's workload and then some. This new employee came at significantly reduced cost, as he was straight out of uni and we pay him a fraction of what Jess costs currently. Now Jess has come back to the team, but there is another issue. Our firm has informed us that for some fucking reason we no longer have the budget for a 7-person team, and we'll have to let someone go. This news came about when I submitted the paperwork for Jess's return. We are 5 months into a project that should take an estimated 10 months, and my decision came down to Jess and the man we hired to replace her. The reason we hired a replacement, which is not normally what we do, is because we anticipated that for this project the workload would be far greater than our current capacity, which it is not. As you can tell by the title, I chose the replacement. I did so for the following reasons. Far cheaper, thus freeing up a lot more money than keeping Jess on. He was up to date with the project and we would be able to move forward seamlessly. Whereas with Jess we would have to take time catching her up to speed on half the project. The clients already knew and liked working with him, whereas they didn't know Jess at all. She has been out of the field for a prolonged period, whilst he has been here for the past 9 months, so she may, or may not, find it hard to adapt back to work life. Whilst with him it isn't a question, he performed his work better than she did hers and interacted better with the team. Obviously, the ideal situation which I wanted was to keep both and not put a new single mother with no other job lined up out in the cold, but I had to do right by the team and firm. I told her I'd write her a brilliant letter of recommendation, and that in a few months she could try and apply for a job at our firm. Hopefully we'll have the budget, but she snapped at me and told me not to bother, and called me a cunt and left. I know I sound cold and heartless, but I had to be fair to both employees, not just Jess, right? Am I the asshole? You are the asshole. Every single reason you mentioned was only true because she had been gone on maternity leave, which legally cannot be a reason to terminate someone. Yet it is the cause behind every one reason you gave. Be prepared for a lawsuit. I'm going to go with you are the asshole. Even though you listed your reasons, it won't play that way in court. Will any woman feel safe in her job at your company if she gets pregnant now? You're punishing her for having a baby and taking the maternity leave that your business offers. You knew she was coming back. Why didn't you hire a temp replacement until that time? You're not going to save money after she takes legal action for being fired because she's a mother. You are the asshole. What's the point of having a maternity leave policy if you just replace and fire the person taking maternity leave? You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not supporting my husband's kids? My 28 female husband, 35 male, and I have been married for a year. We dated for 2 years prior to that. When we met I said I didn't want to have kids of my own, but wouldn't mind being in a relationship with someone who has kids. We came to the agreement that he would be solely responsible for his kids, minus the little stuff. I love my husband a lot and his kids are alright. The older 2 are great but the younger 2 are a bit much. And #X200B. We have had separate finances our whole relationship, since he has kids and I don't. When I moved into his house we agreed that I would pay 1/4 of the mortgage, since it's a 4-bed and 3/4 rooms go to his kids. I pay 1/5 of the utilities since there's 5 of us living here, myself and then him and his 4 kids. I also buy my own groceries separate from them, since I'm really into fitness and I meal prep once a week. It's just the best way to go about it. This was the agreement we came to 2 years ago and we've stuck to it. And #X200B. Recently I've gotten a new car, and I guess he's realized my finances vary a bit more from his than they used to. I work as a travel nurse, going to wherever pays the most for about 1/3 of the year. I make pretty good money, and I've saved a lot. I make around $130K a year. Meal prepping and responsible spending has helped a lot. I don't buy myself a lot of luxuries other than my new car.
My husband works as a mechanic, and he makes a fair amount considering we live in a low-call area. Around $40K a year. And #X200B. Well, he wants me to start setting up college funds for his kids, and he wants to have a joint account and pay our bills based off our income. Essentially he wants me to pay 2/3 of everything related to the household, and him pay 1/3. I don't think it's fair at all. He decided to have 4 kids, and I decided not to have any because I would rather spend my time and money on myself. He thinks it's not fair that I can buy myself an expensive car while he still drives an older car that needs work. And #X200B. Ultimately I asked why he agreed to the split we have now if he wasn't okay with it, and he just changes the subject. And #X200B. Am I the asshole for not wanting to support his kids? Jesus. So he's below the poverty line, and you're at the upper class income threshold. You're married and completely comfortable seeing your stepchildren struggle because your income blocks them from federal student aid, FAFSA that they'd more than qualify for if you weren't in the picture. Financially, H'd be better off if he divorced you and rented your room out to some random person. That's not a marriage. You're FWB at best. Edited to add judgment. I don't understand why you want a relationship where you have discretionary spending and he can't afford reliable transportation to work. I don't understand why he signed up for that. I don't understand how you intend to live your life completely separate from the 4 children you live with.